Welcome back, boys. SLS General Sports Show, second of the season. I guess this is technically season 2 for us. So for those listening, pumped to be back, right? Brandon, Justin, myself, Alex, with you today. Excited to kind of get back into the groove. Great first episode for this season last week. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And we're gonna kind of go off the cuff this time. There's some great sports news, but ultimately just sort of jumping off of what we learned last week in the NFL, some Jays chat. Maybe we'll dabble into the NHL. I know it's preseason camps kicking off in a couple of different places. A lot of news coming out of Canada, but I say we kick things off with the Jays. Before we get into anything, though, boys, just good week all around outside of it. Brandon, I want to go to you because I just want to give you some flowers. You joined us for softball last week. We're happy to see you.
Yeah.
New I was going to say a rink, new diamond that we're playing in, new from this year. We played a couple of times last year as a group with a very short fence, but I don't want to preface by saying it's a short fence. Just saying, yeah, short porch there, but that leaves a lot of opportunity for just bombs. And Brandon hit 2 last week like it was nothing. Bottom of the order, doesn't matter.
That's what Brandon does.
That's what Brandon does. How is the game back last week, Brandon, playing with us? How did you feel coming in? Cold, but still good.
I mean, it was a lot of fun, but you guys know, it's not the field is, we're not playing at Polo Grounds here. It's a pretty short field. So yeah, I was lucky enough to take 2 deep. I think someone else on the team too, was it Ethan? I think maybe hit 1 as well, or
yeah, there's a couple.
Or Evan. We got more than enough guys who can hit the ball over the fence at that field there. So I was happy to be back. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got the win, and I'll be back this week. I think a later game as well. So we'll be playing under the lights here. That's gonna be fun.
Nice.
That's
if we can find the lights.
Yeah, the lights are a whole other issue.
Not that I don't need to play, but I don't need to hit a home run. I just need to get the ball into play, and that's all we need to do. That's all you need to do when you have some home run hitters on the team.
You had a good one last week, though, Justin. I know you've been sort of doing the small ball this season, but you had like 1 triple last week. You legged it out. So give you the flowers, too. That was unusual, but we'll take that in the game we need.
Or you Troy Aikman criticizing our Baker's athletic ability to me?
No.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
I heard it.
Yeah,
And
it was bad.
You told us. Yeah, you told us that. Baker's the last guy you want to sort of get in the way of, whether it be on the field or probably in the broadcast booth. He's a guy who seems to take these things pretty seriously. That was a great Monday night game, along with the other one as well.
It was.
It feels like we've seen like a little bit of a renaissance of quarterbacks kind of pushing forward and trying to, like, we see Patrick Mahomes, obviously like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They're always going to be tough for quarterbacks, but it feels like we're getting, Baker as well. Like there's kind of a resurgence. Justin Herbert's running in a different way, kind of more ferocious. Like as I go through it, like these guys aren't really trying to get out of bounds or slide anymore. They're trying to take guys on, and whether that's because defenses have kind of, maybe we'll take a step back because they can't hit the quarterback, they're afraid of taking a penalty, or because, like I said, guys are more willing to step out of bounds and move to the next play. Feels like we're kind of getting a lot more of those fun kind of plays between the quarterbacks and defenses, going head on. And it's been fun. Part of why the NFL season so far has been great.
Yeah. I would agree. I think like part of it's just like being a Cleveland Brown for part of your career, and that has something to do with it.
Baker has it for sure. Yeah.
And getting away from the Carolina Panthers at the time that they were absolutely going through it. Man, I remember when it was literally like for Baker, that LA game where he hopped on the jet.
That was great.
Flew in to play the game and then won the game. But it felt like that was it. Like if he didn't have a decent game or at least something in that game, like that's probably the end of his career, and he's probably a backup quarterback or whatever. And credit to him for sticking with it. And like you saw like glimpses of it in Cleveland, and then they just kind of gave up on him and shipped him away to Carolina. And I bet you they wish they would have had him back right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Bucs, they look good on both sides of the ball, but without like the weapons that they have, you bring in Ekbuka, who had another great game on Monday night. Like Baker just looks like he can do it with anybody, just the way he's playing. And as someone who was watching that game, wishing that Houston would actually do better just for fantasy football purposes, I was like, man, Baker needs to slow down. And then by the end of the game, I'm like, you know what? Doesn't even matter. I'd rather just watch good football. And he was like proving that he could entertain. And
Man,
yeah, it was
Todd Bowles,
unbelievable.
Todd Bowles. If that game goes, if Tampa Bay loses that game, Todd Bowles is the face of another terrible clock management game.
Mm-hmm.
But this time we get to see why he did it, and it was an excellent clock management decision by Todd Bowles. He took like no timeouts, no sense of real urgency on the last drive of the game for Tampa Bay. It felt like they knew that they had to get down the field and everything, but it didn't feel like, hey, this is hurry up. This is a 2-minute drill. This is like everything that you have to practice in the off season to hurry up and get underneath the ball and snap it as quickly as possible. I just felt like, Todd Bowles, terrific clock management, and gave Houston no opportunity to even have a chance of coming back and winning that game.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
But yeah. What do we want to do? We want to go into the Jays because that's probably the number one story of Canadian folks right now.
I think so. I think we jump right into the Jays, who I guess at this point are sort of faltering in some small capacity. They split the series with Tampa Bay, losing the last two. And we record this on Friday, so they finished their series up yesterday, Thursday, with the weird 1 p.m. start on a Thursday. Thursday MLB games it's almost impossible to guess what time, unless you have the schedule in front of you, what time they're going to play, if a team even plays on Thursday. I luckily had the chance to watch it, or unluckily, because it was a pretty brutal game from the Jays' perspective. A lot of soft contact coming off Chris Bassett. Anyways, point being, because they did lose that game 4-0, only 4 hits, and the Yankees did pretty much take care of business in Baltimore. The magic number is still 3, and it feels like it's been hovering around 3 for the Jays for about a week now to clinch a playoff spot, and then I think it's about 6 to clinch
6
the
for
AL
the division,
East.
And
They
can technically clinch a playoff spot tonight, as early as tonight.
So they are three up on the Yankees, but obviously slim margin coming up. Now they do play just before we kind of get into discussions. They play KC for the weekend series. KC's dropped 8 of their last 11, so a bit of a skid on them. Now they've been playing some pretty solid teams. I think they had a series against the Phillies, the Mariners, who were red hot recently. They played the Guardians before that, so they're coming off of a pretty decent stretch of teams. But now they have a Jays who are kind of struggling. I don't know if you guys. Maybe kind of struggling is the wrong way to put it.
You can't say struggling, okay?
Well,
you can't.
Compared to their season, you shouldn't. I don't know. I just feel like you should be able to hit the ball a little bit better.
No, I mean, I can back you up a little bit, Alex. I know Justin before the last 2, they'd won 6 in a row, but
that's not even it. That's not even
so.
It.
But I mean, I'm just looking at 3 of the last 4 games. They've scored 2 runs or less.
Mm-hmm.
We know the pitching is there, but for me, the offense it's something to worry about. We don't know what's going to happen with Bo, what he's going to look like. Santander's making his way back. That might be a blessing, but it could also be a bit of a chemistry thing. You bring a new bat into the lineup who hasn't played all year. For him, it's got to be boom or bust. If the Jays are going to use him or not. So there's a few reasons to be worried. I would agree with what Alex is saying, but I still feel good about the team, and I still am excited to see them, figure it out, because that's what they've done all years. When they are faced with a little bit of adversity, they figure it out, and they, everyone kind of contributes. And I just want to see if we're going to get that same level of adjustment going forward into the last week of the season, and then obviously we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
I really don't think there's anything to worry about though, and for the simple reason of it's Tampa Bay. Like, Tampa Bay is the Toronto Blue Jays kryptonite, and the fact of every single time they go down there and play them, they suck. The last time that they were shut out was against Tampa Bay in June before Thursday. So, for me, it's more so about the fact that they were just playing Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, and I don't care if you say that's a Little Leaguers stadium, or sorry, a spring training stadium. It's still, to me, just the fact that you're playing Tampa Bay in the Tampa Bay area. Tampa Bay always plays Toronto hard. They have good pitching. For some reason, their pitchers always in, especially when they're in Tampa Bay. I find it like it's even more so. Like they pitch like Cy Young pitchers like every single time. It feels like Shane Baz like has not been great all season long, and then goes out there yesterday and dials it up. Like looks phenomenal. So for me, like I don't think this like you if you're a Toronto Blue Jays player, like you're probably happy with leaving Tampa Bay in a 2-2 split with a 4-game set. Like Tampa Bay is a one team that if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you would never want to face in the playoffs because that's the one team that always seems to have your number. So I don't think there's like anything to be concerned about. Sure, you can worry about the offense, only scoring 2 runs or less in the last 3 games. You can worry about Chris Bassett pitching. I mean, Jose Berrios, we'll get into it probably, but like he's the only one that I'm really concerned about at this moment in time. The Toronto Blue Jays though, like they're fine. They're going like if they lose all 3 games this weekend, then you know what? Then we have a problem. We have a massive problem. But I don't expect that to be the case. I just expected it to be that way when they played the Tampa Bay Rays. So that's why I don't think there's any reason to worry right now.
Yeah, I think first of all, Shane, you brought up Shane Baz. I think he's got to shave that mustache.
Yo,
I
man,
don't
that
think
was
you're gonna have a
disgusting.
bright blonde
That was
mustache,
disgusting. Like
right?
how that was so bad. Like I had to double take and look at the TV. I was like, did he like bleach this thing? Like
Yeah.
how is this blonde? Like it doesn't even look like his hair color.
It was
Man, oh man.
like, and that's the only thing bad you can say about him because he diced the Jays up yesterday. So like, that's a loser mentality. But you got to shave that thing off.
Oh man, like yeah.
He's got some. I think he's still pretty young, right? So like, he's got some
Yeah.
years to sort that
Yeah,
out.
like he could be a legit like ace next year. Like if he figures it out. So
I think I've noticed that the Jays have like from a casual fan perspective, when you watch the games where they score late and they like, let's say they're it's a quiet, they're down for the majority for 7 innings or so and they come back 8 and 9. It's obviously super exciting to watch as a fan, entertaining, it's like playoff atmosphere. But when you look at the symptoms of that, it's that they're not hitting starting pitching. So I'm not saying that that's like a trend, but I've noticed it against the Astros. They had to come back a couple of times. That was the one where I think Hoffman gave up the bomb late. But like, there's a couple of those games where they came back late. They didn't hit anything. I don't know if it was the case for the Orioles and Rays, but I think you chalk that up to they're bad teams, like you said, Justin. So we shouldn't worry too much about whatever happens well, maybe we should, but the point being is we shouldn't look at that
Tampa
vacuum.
Bay. It's just Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Like
I just think in the playoffs, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to face those relievers, like those like 5th relievers that come out of the bullpen. You're going to be facing possibly starting pitching in the bullpen or the best arms in the bullpen from playoff teams. So you're not going to get away with, oh, you know what, like so-and-so is pitching a great 6 innings, will score late to win the game. That's not going to happen.
I don't think that the Toronto Blue Jays outside that Houston series, like it hasn't really. Like they've worn down pitchers. I think one thing that they've done a lot this year is actually worn down starting pitchers, with their small ball approach and this active. They're not swinging for power every single time. They're trying to get contact, and including getting contact means longer at bats, which is like a 7,
That's
8
true
pitch
for
at
sure.
bat, and like so they've been doing a lot more of that, like getting contact however they can, and like if it goes fair, it goes fair. If it goes foul, it goes foul. They don't care because it takes a wear on the pitcher, and they can get a starting pitcher out within like 5 innings at max some games because of how good they are with their contact game. I really do think that's a positive thing the Toronto Blue Jays have that not a lot of teams are able to do is like wear down a pitcher like immediately. Like obviously if the pitcher's having a bad game, it's totally different, but a good pitcher, like the Blue Jays have the capability to still wear that person down and get them out of the game earlier than what I'm sure the other opposing manager is hoping.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and I again, Justin, you're making all these good points, and because I don't disagree with you that there's not quite anything to worry about yet. I think they're obviously in a great position, and the track record this year is there, so we know that they have the ability to turn it on. And you're right, they have. I think they beat Skubal this year. They've beat some of the best starting pitchers in the league, throughout this season. anyway. So I think there's nothing to be too afraid of. Are you guys worried at all about kind of Vladdy and the lack of
Yeah.
power
So
that we're
yeah,
seeing?
this
Like
is
what was it? I had a stat today. It's like his last 9 games, he has 10 singles but just 2 RBIs, no extra base hits.
yeah.
Mm.
So
So
this is the concern. I think is the actual concern that is worth talking about because there. So I saw the actual thing. It's like he played 3 games after the Bo Bichette injury. It was like the rest of the Yankee series at Yankee Stadium, where he played great. He had some good games, but it seems like ever since that Bo Bichette injury, where it takes Bo Bichette out of the lineup, Vlad has dipped, and I think that is something that is a correlation, a real correlation. Is not having Bo Bichette hurts Vlad because it's more pressure. It's not more. Sure, it's more pressure on him, but it's like it's also not that extra high leverage bat that other teams have to worry about as much. You take that out of the lineup, the hit leader in the MLB, and like you're just not gonna have the same impact. And it's more now everything's coming at Vlad, and it's not the same way that it was when Bo Bichette's swinging ahead of Vlad, where you're probably more worried about Bo Bichette. So yeah, I do think this is actually a real concern, Brandon, and I'm glad you brought it up.
I think the hope ultimately though is just that the Jays can close things out over the next couple series and you can maybe give Vlad that rest in the last series of the season. Obviously, I think it's not it's more than obvious. It's an understatement that him in the lineup is better than him without. Maybe you can argue that right now it's not. I don't know if you can. It's just one of those struggle periods for him, but the
Would you
hope
give him a
obviously
rest
is
day?
not. I wouldn't give him a rest day until necessary. I think yeah, obviously you can't. I think the thing is, and I heard Keegan Matheson talk about this like late August, like it's so important for the Jays to win the East. Like
I think it is. Yeah.
you can't get into a spot where you have to play before August or excuse me, before October 4th, the way that they've struggled in wild card games and series over the past couple of years. So I think you have to do whatever you need. And unfortunately, if that means you can't rest them, I think that's just figure it out yourself. You're a veteran, you signed a big contract. There's no hiding behind it anymore, unfortunately. Ideally they sweep Kansas this weekend, Kansas City, and maybe you get a couple of wins sprinkled in over the series afterwards, and you can rest them maybe in the final series.
And
So
you
that's
gotta
the hope.
if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, you gotta like understand this team has to take care of business. Like they cannot hope that the Yankees are going to lose. They play the Orioles in a 4 game set, which they won last night, which is one. Then they play the White Sox, and then they play the Orioles again. They literally have the easiest schedule to round out the season. For going down the stretch for the Toronto Blue Jays, it is very important against the Kansas City Royals and also the Tampa Bay series next week. Like these games are very much important. And sitting Vlad, I brought it up because maybe that helps him get out of it. But like at the same time, I don't think you can sit him until you clinch that at least top 2 spot because this is another thing. They're 50-25 at home. They're 39-39 on the road. Like home field advantage is a big deal to the Toronto Blue Jays, and it is something they need in the playoffs.
yeah, no, you're 100% right, Justin. You stole my. I was thinking the same thing in terms of they have to at least keep pace with the Yankees because that will give them a 3 or 4 game, um, break, I guess, kind of if they were able to, can keep pace with the Yankees. What are they, 4 or 5 games up on them still? I think so. They'll need to 2 game, 3. What am I
Three.
getting? 3? Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 if they win tonight, hopefully, yeah, you keep pace because then you 3 games, you get 3 games. If you keep pace with the Yankees, and you can do with what you want, whether that's Vladdy is going to sit. We know Varsho has been sitting lately. I think he missed 2 out of the 4 games in Tampa. So I think it's going to be one of those things where you got to have everybody going. And I think that the Bo injury and now kind of with Varsho been in and out of the lineup, we know he's not 100%, but he's been playing obviously very well this season. But those 2 things combined, I think, is part of the reason why the dialogue around what's going to happen with Santander is kind of changed a little bit. At first, it was kind of like, we'll see if he gets back. If he gets back, he gets back. But now it's like, okay, yeah, we kind of like to see him get back, and hopefully he can jump in and and whether he's going to have an impactful bat or not, that's still
Did
yet to be seen. But
Did you guys see that home run trot? He definitely
yeah,
was
of
not
course.
in a hurry to go around those
No,
bases. He
and he
was
won't be 100% if he comes
No.
back too. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it kind of sucks that after this kind of incredible season, you're seeing that injury bug start to come through a little bit, and you just hope that guys can at least show up and play well in the playoffs, and then that'll give them a chance. You'd hate to see guys even missing games in the playoffs, and then that kind of contributes to why they're not able to, realize their full potential. So it's too bad, but I still have faith, and that's why those guys like the Clements and the Bargers, and we know Springer's obviously been great and has been healthy as well. So if they can get that contribution from guys that at the beginning of the year we didn't expect, and what we've gotten, you just got to keep hoping that those guys can come through and give the big bats a chance to get in the lineup and play well if they're so able to.
I'll put it to you this way. If Santander is going to play in the playoffs, he's going to play next week in the MLB because the AAA season ends this Sunday. So he won't be able to play after that if he's going to stay in AAA. If they want him to play in the postseason, they're going to have to get him some more reps, and they're going to have to get him into big league action. So he's going to play next week. If he doesn't play next week, don't expect Santander in the lineup for the playoffs. That would be my assumption. Because you have Kansas City, and then you have a 3-game set against Boston and a 3-game set against Tampa Bay to close out the year.
Well, and it's another reason to take care of your business as soon as possible because yeah, you'd rather have Santander coming back in games that maybe don't matter or that you've already clinched, and to give him the opportunity as opposed to, oh, we actually have to win today
Yeah,
and we're struggling with the decision of should we put him back in the lineup, what should we do? So it just creates so many more difficult decisions if you have to, play to the last day of the season all of a sudden because you weren't able to take care of your business against Tampa Bay and Kansas City, right? So that series against Boston, I think, is going to be huge because hypothetically, that could be the series where they clinch the
Yeah.
division. If they get to the Tampa series and they still haven't done that, then I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
But yeah.
yeah. We'll see. It's kind of crazy to me. Probably a bigger story elsewhere in the MLB is the fact like Detroit is just like they're on a roller
They're
coaster
floating.
downward. They are just they are running out of steam. The New York Yankees technically would be the number 2 seed, but they aren't because they aren't in a division lead. So, yeah, the New York Yankees have now passed the Detroit Tigers for the second overall seed in the American League, and it's a 3-game lead, but and a tiebreaker. The Jays just need to play 500 baseball basically down the stretch. Like they at the bare minimum, they need to play 500 baseball. And if they can do that, if they can win a series potentially this weekend, that would be huge. If not, you're gonna have to hope that Baltimore somehow squeezes a win out of the Yankees this weekend because if not, it's gonna be dangerous going into the last week of the season.
Yeah, and we just talked about how they can't get it done in Tampa Bay. Like that would be heartbreaking. But ultimately, you want the guys that you signed to play. And I think the discussion of like resting guys is always possible. We see it in other sports, we've seen it in baseball. But like the way that the Jays have gone out in past seasons, you don't want to be like what could have been if we had Vladdy in the lineup for the final 3 days of the season or what have you. But yeah, Detroit's crazy. I was hearing a stat today. They at one point in the season were 14 games up in their division above Cleveland, and now that's dwindled down to 3.5 games. Like, there's a real possibility they don't even make the playoffs. Like, how insane would that be? I don't see that happening. It's just a possibility.
Well, and
No,
it's a
that'd be
combination.
insane.
It's a combination too. Cleveland's played very well down the stretch, and
Yes.
they're actually kind of pushing on the Red Sox a little bit in that last spot. So I think it might be
Yeah,
like there could be movement all over the place right to the last day of the season in the
and we
American
have
League. Yeah, it could
we
be
have
really fun.
Houston and Seattle swapping back and forth. Like technically, Houston's only 1 game up over Boston right now, and like I'm pretty sure that they're 1 game back of Seattle or something like that right now. So it is all like that whole division and stuff is very close. Like it's not it's far from over in my opinion. Like
No,
Well,
there
no
could be
doubt.
some swing.
and credit to the MLB for making the change. It's been a while now, but like
Mhm.
imagine when they didn't have the extra wild cards, it would have been over probably like 6 weeks ago or
Yeah.
something. Everyone would just be like, "Ah, yeah, you can't really catch some of those teams at the top." But now it's like it seems like every year there's incredible wild card races down the stretch, and now we're getting great division races too. So it's like whether it's just parity in baseball or if it's the way that they've reset kind of the divisions and the wild card races, it's been fun to watch. I give MLB
Sorry, I
credit
was
for
Yeah,
that.
wrong.
totally.
Seattle is tied.
They're tied after
They're
yesterday
they're
because Houston
tied.
didn't play.
Yeah, so
Ah,
So
it's
there you go.
it's coming down to the stretch. Now if you move to the NL, let's just get one thing clear. Okay, let's just put it on the table. If you had to pick a World Series winner today, just NL or AL, 10
I
times out of 10, where are
yeah.
you gonna go?
I don't know about 10 out of 10, but I'd certainly take the NL today to be the World Series champion in terms of
Mhm.
I believe those teams at the top there are just a little bit better or maybe just healthier or just on a
Big
bet
time.
on have more momentum. But yeah, there's definitely
There's
a
a
better chance
difference
there.
in the NL versus AL. And the top teams in the NL are seem to be a lot more assertive and a lot more dominant. That's kind of the point here is like you can talk about the AL race all you want. It's going to be interesting playoffs, but I don't think at the end of the day it's going to matter. I think if Toronto was to play Milwaukee in a World Series, Milwaukee would win in 5 games. Like
Well,
Milwaukee is that good.
the only argument I guess you can make is that the AL will have less of a gauntlet going into the World Series, whereas the NL have to beat up on each other. So you just kind of hope that, and that's at any league that like
Yeah.
the teams, and baseball is a little bit less like this, but at the same time you shorten your roster and injuries play a key factor, especially to pitching. Who knows how the playoffs play out? But yeah, man, I do agree. Like that, even the Phillies have been there before. Like I don't think
The
the Dodgers
Phillies
have clinched yet, but they're obviously going to stay. Like the teams have been there for a long time, so
Phillies
they know how to
Phillies
do it.
are World Series or bust. Like this is it.
Of
This is it
course,
with this group. If they don't get it done, this is the end of it. I think before we move off MLB, we need to have like one conversation, and that is for the playoffs. Do you take Jose Berrios onto your 26-man playoff roster or no?
Probably wouldn't at this point. I just don't see like the value or where he would fit in. Like it feels like the guys that aren't going to start, like, we obviously the Lauer conversation happened already. Um, the Bassett, I think, everyone's kind of on the understanding that he's a very valuable guy in the bullpen as well, can give you some innings out of relief and is happy to do it. But it just doesn't feel like Barrios is that effective in that role and really will be a guy that you will need in that role. I'd much rather have another guy that can give you an inning of two of their best stuff, even if it's not, hypothetically a player who has the track record of Barrios or has hypothetically the ability of him, over a full season too. But that's kind of where I'm at now. He'll have hopefully another start to maybe give his last shot. But,
So do you don't think he's one of the organization's 13 one of the 13 best pitchers in the organization?
well, that's not really the question when you're talking about who you want to have on your playoff roster. That's just kind of like
You can move him to the pen.
is he one of the yes, you could, but that's what I'm saying is he what's his I don't have the numbers in front of me, but what's his track record in that position? Has he ever had
I
success
don't even think
pitching 3 or 4 innings out of a bullpen? Has he ever,
I don't
he's
even think
not
he's done it.
I can't think of a time where he
I don't
has.
think he's done
so
it.
I mean, it's great to think that he could do it, but he can't. He's not. He's having trouble doing the thing that he's supposed to do now, which is coming out as a starter and giving you 5 or 6 quality innings. He's not been able to do that. So to think that he can just change roles on the fly and he'll have more success than he's having now, it's to me, it's just not. It's not that realistic. And I think you could have him there, and maybe something happens and you got to throw him in for a lot for try to get 3 or 4 innings out of him. Maybe Bassett's pitched the day before, but I don't know. Like that's kind of I
So you wouldn't take him. You would just have the hard conversation and say, "Hey, you've helped build this team. You've been a part of the core. You're a veteran guy on this team. We signed you to a bigger contract, and you've been the opening day starter for us, and we've asked you to log a lot of innings for us, and now we're just gonna not take you on our playoff roster.
I mean, I don't have to have the conversation, but yeah, that's probably what I would do. That's unfortunately what's could happen. It's not like the Jays have a ton of other options. Like I could obviously be wrong, and he
See,
is on the roster. I'm not saying like, oh, it's impossible. He's never gonna. I just mean like, I didn't even know, if I have the option of taking maybe another lefty who might not pitch either, but like you just have that option. Maybe I want, like a Tommy Nance or another righty out of the bullpen, just because you have a little bit more information about what they can do in a 1 or 2 inning spot, right? Where you might need somebody like that. So it's just it's just kind of the way it's played out, unfortunately. I'm not like, again, no discredit to Jose Berrios. He's had a fantastic career and he's been great for the Jays for many years. He never misses a start. He's one of those guys that you can depend on all the
That's what I
time.
mean. That's you
But
can't.
if he's
And
not
like, how
given
does this? How does like? It's not just like him. It's also like the locker room. Like, say they take Trey Savage over him, which I think if it came down to between him and Savage, and depending on what Savage looks like this Sunday, it's what's really going to tell me everything about this. But if it comes down to Savage and him, and they choose Savage, that's not a good look in the locker room. I don't feel like I really don't think that, like, for the veteran starting pitchers around, I don't think that's a good look.
I agree. Like, I think you're right. Like, and these guys are a unit, and they will have their input because, as far as I understand, Schneider and Pete Walker, they trust their pitchers to give them the input that they
Yeah,
think is important. But at the same time, again, assuming Savage goes out and pitches, an average start for him, which looks like it's going to be really good. If you choose Jose Berrios over Savage in that spot, are you trying to win a World Series then? Like, what are you're
so
just
that's
trying
the
to make
question.
everybody happy? Like, and Alex knows exactly what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't make sense in baseball terms. If you're trying to keep everyone happy and you got to look to next year, you don't know what's going to happen. You want to keep them around, whatever. Like, that's fine, but you're not trying to win a World Series at that point. You're just happy where you are and you want to keep everything together. It's not the best way to do it, but you never like it could very well happen because he could maybe find it and maybe he is a valuable guy in the playoffs, but I just can't see it right now with where we're at in his kind of unfortunate regression this year.
Yeah, I think you got to go with whatever gets you to the World Series. Like, how much has this front office been criticized? John Schneider, funny enough, has been criticized for another decision with Barrios. And now
that's
it
what I
looks like
mean.
the
Yeah,
opposite way, right? Like, now we're like, oh, maybe that was a smart move. Obviously, at the time, it didn't seem like it and probably still wasn't. But regardless, I mean, obviously, first, we talk about rules. It's funny how Trey Savage just needs like a written letter from Manfred being like, yeah, you can play. It's just weird how that in this day and age is what will allow him to pitch. And at the end of the day, obviously, I hope he gets, like, I hope that's fine as a Jays fan. But yeah, I think it's time where you can make the decision, unfortunately, based on, if this was the first time that the Jays were making a push, it's a different story. But the fans are like, I don't care if like you cut everyone and you like, who cares now? I think if Vladdy's playing bad and they cut him, I mean, like, look, obviously they won't do that. But the point is, whatever's going to allow your team to play better is the decision that needs to be made at this tenure. Jays fans are like, we need to win. This is the best chance. We don't know if Bo is going to resign after the season. That could change a lot of how the team looks next year. This is, you talk about the Phillies, not that the Jays are in the same position, but ultimately, like, they kind of are in terms of how long they've been pushing. And this is the year. So you make the decision, whatever it is, that's best for the team to win. Who cares about the locker room? You guys are grown men and you guys want to win just as much as the next guy in there. And I love Barrios, but, and you know what? I don't know. Like, I don't really have an answer to that in terms of whether you pick him or not. But I just think, like Brandon said, I think you got to make the decision that's best for the team to be successful.
it's like it's gonna come down to, like, do you take? There's no way they don't take Louis Verland. I don't think. The stuff's just too good. Tommy Nance, Trey Savage, and Jose Berrios is what it's going to come down to.
Braden Fisher, he's a baller.
Well, and, like, I'm saying, like, Braden Fisher's. I think he's going to be in the playoff roster.
No doubt, no doubt.
But, like, I'm just saying, like, they have 14 right now. Like, Jose Berrios, Max Scherzer, or sorry, I think Max Scherzer's on the playoff roster, even if
Yeah.
he sucked.
Yeah,
Just
no doubt.
because
Imagine
of
telling him he's not playing.
exactly. it's harder to do that to him than what it is to do to Jose Berrios. But I will concede that. But like,
I'll put it this way though, like if it was, say, Bowden Francis was healthy and he was having the year that Barrios has, like just up and down, and the last month terrible, like just unable to find it again, you probably would have no issue kind of telling
no,
him, hey, you're not going to be
yeah,
on the roster. But like you
Yeah.
said, it's just the
it's the veteran thing, like
yeah.
that, and like he's logged so many innings for this team. Like like you said, like he's been there for every single start. Like that is something that like I don't think goes unnoticed. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
that goes like, and like you can like easily say, hey man, like maybe if we get you a week off here, like, but he also had 10 days off in between starts earlier this year and looked like crap when he came out of it. So it's hard. It's really hard because yeah, it comes down to Tommy Nance or Jose Berrios for me, and because I would rather have Trey Savage, but
Yeah.
who would you take?
I think ultimately, if it were actually me in the position, like I would put Barrios on, because I'm someone who like is more like, for it's I can't think of the word right now, but like the tenure that he's put in. Like I'm with you, Justin, on that. Like if I ultimately had to make the choice, I'd put him on. But I don't think Schneider. The reason he's the manager, and I've criticized him in the past, but the reason he is the manager is because he has to make those decisions. And I do think he would decide to put him off. So it's not really what I would do, because I would probably put him on because it's like, yeah, it's for morale. And I'm always more on that side. But I just think that he'd probably keep him off. Like you said, that Bowden Francis is a great point, because if it were him, he might not even play next year. Like they would have no problem. It's just it is a sticky situation.
That's the thing. It's a sticky situation with this player. Um, yeah, it's hard. It's a definite hard conversation, and it's one that we're gonna find out here going forward in the next 2 weeks, because we're running out of time,
Getting
and
close.
it's gonna be interesting. I would assume if he's on the roster for the playoffs, he's not starting and he's coming out of the bullpen. That's what
Yeah.
I would assume. Um, Now they could flip flop and say you're gonna start and your Savage is gonna come out of the bullpen and back you up. Um, but I would say your Savage is probably has a better chance of starting in a playoffs game than what Jose Barrios does at this point.
Yeah, it probably comes down to just who's more comfortable coming out of the bullpen, like you said. Like if they're gonna lay out the roles for everybody, probably if they're to be
They're probably doing that
available,
right
and
now.
yeah, and then it's probably whether it's the pitching staff as a group or each individual guy like submits, I guess, their honest opinion, and hopefully they can take that and find their best group of guys that's going to give them the best shot to get through games that are not going to be easy. So yeah.
And I think it was strategic not to have your Savage pitch against Boston. Like
Yeah, I would agree. I would
100%,
agree. They could
because
hypothetically play them in the playoffs. Why
exactly, and
not
you don't want
let
them to
that
see
be his
the
first
you
time
don't want
seeing
them
it?
to
Yeah,
see the arm angle and get some, because you can get video on it. You can't experience it live. You know what I mean? Like that is a different, totally different thing. Like, they were
no
showing
doubt.
like I can't remember the TV show that I saw it the other day. They were showing the maps of E Savage's debut, and it's like it looks normal. Like it looks like like you're gonna see like any other pitcher, and then it's like no, it's not, because it's like you gotta remember the arm angle that you can't see on these maps, and like it's just something that is affecting these batters that is not something that you can control through like showing it through stats.
No, this is the highest release point in the MLB, which is like just crazy to think that the Jays have a guy that's in discussion for just like top pitcher or great pitching status.
Prospect, yeah.
Splitter's disgusting. Like just watching it in real time, like it's just great to see. Just question marks, but ultimately really excited. Hopefully for them to play. Fingers crossed, October 4th. But we'll see how it plays out in the next 9 games. We could probably switch to NFL. We normally like to talk about the week prior. We could probably chat about Thursday night because it's a little more surprising than I think we all anticipated, right? Like Dolphins do drop the game to the Bills pretty much in perfect fashion. Tua with his 4th interception of the season, which is basically a league lead, which after 3 games is it's not much, but it's enough of a sample size to be like, what's going on here? I don't know what direction you guys want to go here, whether it's like, hey, Buffalo's great, or hey, the Dolphins are actually as bad
They
as
gave up a
they are.
fight, or they put up a fight, and I was shocked. I thought the Dolphins were gonna roll over last night. I thought that was gonna be their quick game. I don't think that. I think last night proved that they have not quit on Mike McDaniel's yet. I thought it was gonna be last night. Now Mike McDaniel's talking after the game. It
Oh
sounded
my God.
it did not sound like a coach should be coaching in the NFL, saying it felt like a loss. They did more things to win the game. We lost the game, and that's what happens. You lose the game. Like, man, oh man, like I don't get it. I don't know if he's nervous to talk to the media because like he just seems that way right now. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the Miami Dolphins' effort on Thursday night, and I honestly thought they might have a chance to march down the field and tie the game, until Tua did a normal Tua thing, and he just
Like crazy interception. Like
like
that was awful.
his eyes, like you can see the replay, his eyes literally lock onto the linebacker and just don't come off, and it's like he's thrown to a receiver. That's the
I was just
linebacker.
gonna say this was my impression of Terrell Bernard catching that ball.
Yeah,
Just
like
waiting.
yeah, just like
Just stepped right in, came right to him, and that was it. Like
there was nothing like there was no chance that was not going to be intercepted. Like I don't know if Tua like just doesn't see it, and like I don't know if he's colorblind. I really don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like it really doesn't. Like when he's on and when he's at, like he's one of the best accuracy throwers in the league. Like he can hit the tight windows when he's on. When he hits a blind spot, he's gonna throw it directly to the other team. It's just what Tua are you gonna get? Especially, it can flip flop throughout the whole game. Like he can be excellent and then terrible. So
I just think you saw the touchdown passes, and like I don't want to take away from Miami yesterday because, and we'll get to the Bills because obviously Brandon, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts being that that's your team. Like I don't want to take away because yeah, like even seeing that at halftime it was tied and being like, from an average perspective, that's kind of a crazy concept, to see that the Dolphins are hanging in with the first couple of games that they've played. The touchdown passes did seem like he was nervous. Like even the one to Tyreek Hill. Hill had to get open. Jalen Waddle managed to sneak in. Like some of the they weren't the best passes that like at the end of the day they don't ask how, they ask how many, but it just didn't look like Tua still felt a level of confidence. And based on his injuries in the past and based on how the team is performing and just all the offseason drama, I'm sure it's just a little shaky. So credit to him for staying into that game. But just like I talked about how Russell Wilson last week had an unbelievable performance, and then against the Cowboys, he tosses the ball up and is like, somebody catch this ball, and someone caught the ball, but it was a horrendous interception in overtime. So it just erases the whole game. So you feel bad. As a Chargers fan, I'm happy as hell that they chose Justin Herbert after Tua and the fact that the Dolphins went in the direction they did in 2020. But the only thing I want to say about the Dolphins otherwise is that, that post-game press conference from McDaniel, if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm like, I don't care how close the game was. This guy cannot coach anymore. Like, because he's very,
I don't understand how he talks.
It was like, and I've said this before, like it's great when you're winning and he's quirky and he has these weird post game.
Yeah.
Honest to God, it was like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
He
He's just
also-
sitting there like, you wish you could put it all on the quarterback, but
he also
I'm like,
did
what
not
does that
look up
even mean?
once. He didn't look up
it was
once. Like it was eyes down at the papers, like just like we lost the game. It felt like a loss.
I think just as a Leafs
crazy.
fan, and I know I'm bringing up the Leafs, you're like, why? But you're accustomed to being able to receive the best coaches when a coaching position opens. And I'm not saying McDaniels is a horrible coach, but you don't see that from like a Leafs coach. Like even Sheldon Keefe, who in the past 10, 15 years, maybe is the most unexperienced. He's at least good at like managing the media for the most part. But like if that's your coach, he's looking down, like you said, he's looking like he's a schoolboy in trouble. I'm like, I like McDaniel, but what was that? Like you held in, you had a pretty solid performance up until the last 3 minutes, and it felt like they had been demolished like 52 to whatever. It was just wild. I just felt weird watching that. So
Yeah, you would hope that he would be able to kind of take something from it and bring to
I
his
don't
team
know.
and have a positive spin because yeah, I would say they didn't play a bad game at all. I thought they, especially pockets of that game, they looked like they did have a chance to win and nobody would have expected that. But I think for me at least the it was more so disappointment and kind of what the Bills did as
Hmm.
opposed to, Miami did play up to their opponent, which is great for them, but the Bills definitely played down. They gave up, too many points, obviously. We know their defense was a bit shorthanded with Ed Oliver out and Matt Milano out. They're still missing their rookie corner and Maxwell Harrison Jr. So we know that they're, a little bit vulnerable there, but I still expected them to come out with a little bit more kind of ferocity and get to Tua. I don't think they had any sacks. Obviously, they had the one turnover, but
Hmm.
it just didn't feel like they were, kind of pushing themselves, in the direction of the Miami quarterback, which they usually do. They usually get a little bit more force and pressure towards the opposing QB, and for whatever reason, they just weren't. Credit to the Dolphins O line a little bit there. They had some interesting play calls as well. They were getting the ball to the outside. I thought Jalen Waddle was fantastic. He looked
Yeah.
really good. Um, but yeah,
Tyreek's dead.
yeah, he just doesn't seem to. Again, it's so hard to judge
Not
because
dead,
again,
but
you're
washed.
talking about a quarterback in Tua who doesn't have the skills that a player like Tyreek Hill needs. He doesn't have a deep ball. He's not able to really read the
Yeah,
play
it's
as
just
well as some of the best quarterbacks and put the ball in a spot that he can go get it. Like you look back now and it's almost confusing as to why he would have wanted to go there at all. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it may not have been all football related, but it just it's just not working. And I think people want to talk about
even that deep ball last night that Tua threw that had a chance, he wanted no part of coming down with that. It felt like no part of getting hit, like no part of anything to do with it. It just and there was one along the sideline that he just normal out route that he just slips up on, like, and there was a
Yeah.
couple of them actually where he just like
Bobbled or whatever.
yeah, he's getting frustrated, but like some of them are his fault. Like they're not just Tua, like it's him as well, and it's like I just think we're past the past. Like I just think we're past the peak of Tyreek Hill now, and we're kind of on the decline. I'm not saying he's a terrible wide receiver. I still think the speed is there. I just don't think the overall game is there. Like I don't think he's as dangerous as a threat as what he once was. The one thing I was gonna say about Tua, I just was looking this up while you guys were chatting there. He's under contract until 2028.
yeah, yeah.
And his cap hit this year is 39 million, and that goes to 56 next year. Then it's 53, and then 65 in the final year.
Insane.
This is the first year
That
of technically a
sucks.
4-year contract. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is not good for like. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna trade him after the season and get the like? Because
I can't
potentially you're gonna have a top
imagine.
5 overall pick.
Yeah, and I can't imagine another team willing to take him and his money on, like, and you can't really cut him either. Imagine the pay,
No.
like it'd be.
Yeah.
I think you're just gonna see it. Like for me, you go through the rest of this season, and then I think you gotta. Yeah, if you have a pick, I mean, maybe they don't bring in a quarterback who's gonna be a life changer. Maybe they will, but I think you gotta give another guy a shot at some
Oh
point. You
yeah.
can't like you gotta start a little bit fresh and then have Tua as your backup, I guess. Like I don't know what you do going forward because it's just such a impossible situation because of the contract that they signed him to and the fact that he's just not he
Yeah,
seemingly is not good enough to lead a team to to a Super Bowl for sure. And especially the group of players that they have, like they're probably gonna have to make changes and try to build on other areas as well. So for them to be at a spot where they're at, I mean, it's got to be it's going to be very interesting couple of years in Miami for sure.
Yeah,
and
they would if the way. First of all, 0-3, the only team that has made the playoffs, I think I'm going to make up the number of years, but the past long time has been Houston. I think when they went on like a 9 or 10 game run a few years ago and they lost to Cleveland in the wild card game, but they're done. They're not going to make the playoffs like we're talking about. And there are 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks in the draft. If Arch Manning doesn't get drafted, which ultimately goes back to college, maybe there's 5. Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, Cade
Drew
Klubnik. There's
Aller.
a Drew Aller. Like, there's a bunch of these guys in the draft that, like you said, Brandon, who knows if they end up being studs. Nussmeier does look like he's the likeliest of that bunch to be the next, like, pure, standalone quarterback in that draft class. But Miami does look like they have a shot at getting a guy. You have to. Like, there's no
Do you
confidence, I
like?
think, for me. Yeah, there's no
You're
confidence
you're in the
Tua
middle.
anymore.
You're only in year 2 of a 4-year, $212 million contract extension. That's
But
a lot of
what
money.
Yeah, but
confidence do you have in him,
when
though?
did they sign? Like, I don't remember. This was not last year.
This
This
was
must have been 2
this
years
It
ago.
was
may have been
yeah. They
2,
signed
yeah.
him when they could have extended him
If they
after
had
year
known
4.
what was going to happen with him, especially health wise, you'd think like
Yeah.
that deal
Wait,
would
this
still
was the
have.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon.
What?
How many games are in an NFL season?
17 now.
18 weeks, 17 games. How many times do you think, before, not including this season, how many times do you think he has played every single game of the season?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he has never done that, but I'm guessing he has at least once.
He has once, and that was in
Yeah.
2023, and that's when they would have signed him after that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they would never have known some of the scary health stuff that happened in the last 2 years. Plus, they feel like there's been a little bit, like, maybe more than a little bit of a decline just in his ability, just because of
Oh, yeah.
maybe because of the health issues. Obviously, having multiple scary concussions the way that he has is going to affect anybody, but it just doesn't feel like, like he already didn't have the biggest arm. Yes, his accuracy was there, but now, like to Alex's point earlier, he looks a little bit nervous and scared whenever he has to hold on to the ball more than a few seconds. When they're moving through their plays and his progression, and he just goes and he just kind of, I'm sure it just instinctively makes the play. It feels like he still has that ability to move the ball down the field and obviously, lead a football team on the offense. But yeah, whenever he, has to kind of make a move or make a thought through what he's going to do next, we see him, he took off, I think, on one play, which was actually really nice. He used his legs and got the first down, got down and slid. But it's like, like you got to imagine some of that like anxiety that everybody has around Tua, like he has as well. So it's just like, hopefully he's in a good spot and maybe, he can continue to find, I'm sure the more games he plays, maybe the closer he'll get back to that level.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just hope that it's not something where, like he's already kind of hit his peak. And now because of everything that's happened, it's never going to be what they expected.
His if he was to get released right now, he would be $92 million in dead cap this season.
That's insane.
And
Oh my
$45
God.
million next season. So yeah, they're in,
They can't. Yeah. Like,
they can't cut him. They can't.
no.
You're just gonna pay him $45 million to walk away, like, or 130, like.
No, you play the season out. You see what you have, if anything. You draft a quarterback. We've seen Green Bay do it. Now they have the structure in place to clearly mentor quarterbacks. Like, you're learning from Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers learns from Brett Favre. How much do you learn from Tua as a guy coming in? Who knows? I mean, he was obviously a great college quarterback. That
He's
hasn't
had some good
translated.
years though.
But and again, it's maybe just the health, man. Like, you just hate to see it. But like,
I
imagine
was so nervous last night.
imagine like one of us, and imagine like you had to go inside the pocket knowing you've been hit multiple times. You've been literally like in the middle of well, I guess it was a Sunday 1:00 game, but early in a game, like everyone's like, yo, we're gonna stop this game. This guy might not even play football again. Multiple times, I think. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to come back from that.
There was a scramble late in the game last night against the Bills where he picked up the first down and he went for the slide, and I was like so nervous watching that play because I was like I was yelling like slide because like if he didn't take a slide in maybe a second before that or a second after, he's probably getting hit and he's probably going to have another concussion because it was close. And as a defensive football player, you're probably thinking like against him, like I don't want to ruin his life, but like at the same time, like I'm also supposed to tackle him down
make the
here,
play.
like Like,
Yeah, these
that
defenders
it's
are
so
crazy. They
hard.
probably want to end his career.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like
You
some
get
of these
Jalen
guys.
Ramsey or something. Like I know they played with him, but Jalen Ramsey's not going to care. For example, like kind of.
But you're right. Like I
Like,
think, and I want to say too, I actually like the idea of kind of a combination of what you guys both said. Is like, yeah, you play through this year. Maybe you draft a guy, and then maybe Tua is still the starter the year
Yeah,
following. You bring that guy kind of up a little bit, and then there's your succession plan. If anything were to go bad, or if Tua never finds it again, then it's like, okay, we've got this kind of figured out. But there's no way you can go into another season next year with a backup from another team who's never gonna, like a Skylar Thompson or a Mike White. You
we
can't
have
have
Zach
those kind
Wilson
of
on
guys.
the team.
yeah. Zach Wilson's their backup.
If they
Zach
came out and were
Wilson's
like,
their
"Hey, we were
backup, right?
excited
Yeah.
about the potential of what Zach Wilson could be at some point," like I'd be like, "Okay, great, that's good for you. You've thought
Yeah,
about it." But
congrats.
they probably just, he's been on a few different teams now. They just brought him in because we got to pay a backup and he's probably not making a lot of money. So it's probably just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you want to
They
get
also have
started on a
Quinn
real
Ewers.
plan.
They also have Quinn Ewers, who's from
Yeah,
Texas last year. They drafted him in the 7th round.
Now
that's
that
true.
could be interesting. Say, maybe over the next year he kind of finds it and maybe they give him a shot at some point. That would be interesting. But yeah, like
They have,
until they come out and say like, "Hey, this is kind of our plan going forward," like it just feels like they're just gonna kind of sit on what they've got and hope for the best. Like I
if
don't know what else you can do, but
it feels like their defense is a massive, massive problem. And like that's where it's also a letdown for them, because their offense has so much talent. Like Devon Achane is so talented. Tyreek Hill is still a capable wide receiver. I don't think he's, like I said, I don't think he's in the peak ever going to be again type wide receiver. But Jaden Waddle still a really good wide receiver. I like Malik Washington. Ollie Gordon looks really
He
good.
looked good.
Last night he looked really good. Start giving him more reps. That could be a dual threat machine back there in the backfield. Like they have a lot of talented players on offense, and like for 3/4 of that game last night, Tua seemed like a game manager. Like he didn't seem terrible. He wasn't hurting them by any means. I don't think he was scrambling. He was extending the play, like trying to get open. Like Buffalo was playing solid defense for most of the night, and he was scrambling, trying to find open guys. And for his credit, like he did a good job of like staying active or keeping his feet moving. There's nothing down the field. You can't blame the quarterback for that. So I thought, yeah, like there's too much offensive power on this team to like just roll over and go like 0-17 this year, or like 1-7, 1-16. Like it's just not. Miami has too much in terms of offensive power to do that. So listen, 0-3 right now. Now I'm gonna read off a couple of their next games and tell me whether or not they have a chance to come back, because in 2 weeks we might be looking at a different team. Okay, next week they play the New York Jets. Who wins that?
they should win that game. Granted, I don't know what the status will be of Justin Fields at that point. If they're playing Tyrod Taylor like next week, like he's slated to start this week, I give the Dolphins. I'd give them the win, obviously, without knowing. But if it's Justin Fields and he can come back and play healthy, that game to me is a toss-up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Then you have Carolina.
I think you should win that.
They should win that game.
I think you should win that too.
Be more.
So then you're 2-3, and then they go on to play the Chargers,
Loss.
and then they play Cleveland, which that should be a competitive possible win.
I think Cleveland wins.
I would
give
Cleveland a chance in that game more so than I would any other team, because if they can stop, their defense is great. If they can stop Tua,
is good.
We just talked about the Dolphins defense and they're not as good. I think Flacco would be able to put up some points on them, and then it just like you said, it's how much can the Dolphins score, right? So,
Yeah.
So you're 2-5 there, right?
2-5. This season's gonna get worse. Like they don't have a great schedule. They have Atlanta, then they have Baltimore, then they have Buffalo again, then they have Washington.
loss.
Yeah, that's
it's over.
He's gone. Like Mike McDaniels was gone by week 9 here against
tough
Baltimore.
schedule for the Dolphins this year.
And then they have New Orleans and the New York Jets and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then Tampa Bay and New England to round it out. So
even there, I see 2, maybe 3 wins if they're lucky, right? Like that last 5 or 6 games. So they might only finish with 5 or 6 wins this whole season if they're lucky.
Yeah, they're probably going to be last in the AFC East.
I would
Well,
think so.
and quickly on the flip side, Buffalo, they showed a snippet of their schedule over the next 6 weeks or so, and they played no one. So
9-0,
how do you feel
baby. Here
about
we go.
that? Yeah, how do we feel about that, Brandon? Like, I think their hardest opponent is the
Yeah,
Chiefs, who are 0 and
it's
2
like week
in
9,
week
yeah.
8 or 9. Yeah, so
I mean, yeah, I feel like you should never expect a team to, to win every game, especially in a, half of the season basically, and if not longer. I think you'll see maybe a loss in there, maybe a game that we don't expect. Chiefs could play them well, and maybe they have to. Maybe they're 7-2 or something heading into week 10. But yeah, I like where they're at. I think their offense is unbelievable. Like
man,
they can do pretty much whatever they want. I think one of the reasons why the game was looked as close as it was, they had potential for more points, and I think Matt Prater missed a field goal in the second half or the second quarter that would have given them a lead going into the half most likely, and then from there, they probably never looked back. But yeah, like there's just a few things that they have to clean up, and if they're able to do that, if they're able to get some guys back on the defensive side, Tyler Bass is going to come back. That's going to shore up their kicking
yeah.
spot. Like they're going to be in probably looking as good as they have over the last few years as the season continues, as long as no other injury issues happen.
I wouldn't be shocked if they're 6-0 heading into their bye week. Like, but I also think Atlanta could be a harder game than what I think people would
Oh yeah,
probably give
no,
it
there are
credit
some
for.
tough games in there. Like I said, they could lose one or two down this kind of stretch of the first half
Yeah.
of the season, and then but they're still going to be in a good spot, I think, obviously in the division and probably in the AFC. That week 1 win that they pulled out against Baltimore, like that,
Man,
it for both teams could be huge as we get back, as we get to the end of the season. So
it 100%, and I think I can almost see it right now. They're gonna like the Bills are gonna go, let's say 3-4-0. They're gonna lose to a team they had no business losing to, just like a Saints, Falcons, right? And then they're gonna destroy the Chiefs. Like I think this is the year they're like, all right, like enough, right? At some point, Allen wins the MVP last year. You figure last year was the year, and he's like, I don't care about the MVP this year. I have it. I'm married to Haley Steinfeld of all people, and I'm gonna win. Like it's one of those where it's what else is there to do but beat the Chiefs? I think they destroy the Chiefs. It's just one of those weird like, oh, maybe they feel confident, they lose to a bad team, and then we're hit the ground running. So I can see them losing one and going like 8-1, which is
Yeah,
great for them.
no, I can see it. Do we want to talk about before we finish this podcast? Do we want to talk about a couple games this
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah, I think if we have like a game of the week maybe each, or like a game we're looking forward to.
Yeah,
Do you have one? Does anyone have one in mind they want to start, or do you want to take a look at the schedule first before we kind of get in? I have one
I
in
have
mind, but if you guys do,
I have
that's
one in
good too.
mind, but you can start because I have like two in mind. But I want to see if you take the one that I'm thinking of.
I'll go quick. Yeah. Mine. I'm not normally not a homer too much on this podcast,
Okay.
but it is the Chargers Broncos for me.
Okay.
Even without knowing, even without being a fan of those teams, just looking at the Chargers and the fact that they're 2-0, I wasn't super impressed with their win over the Raiders on Monday night. It was like a take care of business game. But after what you saw from Herbert and the entire offense and really the defense in week 1, taking care of business against the Chiefs, that was like, oh, that's the game right there where they weren't able to win in the past. And yes, they beat the Raiders. They held them to 3 field goals and a really weird Geno Smith performance. You figure he would have had a little bit of a better performance all around. But, ultimately you take the wins where you can. Obviously, Khalil Mack going down, luckily avoiding surgery. He's not done for the year, but he's a big loss for reasons you don't need to describe on the other side of the ball. So and obviously the Broncos are an unbelievable defensive team. They have great corners. They have a great line. Like I think it's going to be a tough game, and they lost last week and they're looking for revenge, right? Like they want to come
Yeah.
back, and that AFC West is as wide open as it's as wide open as it ever will be, with the Chiefs being 0-2, and they want to grab it. Even the Raiders are probably like, we're 1-1. We want to grab that spot. So I think it's going to be a fight to the end of the game. I do think it's going to be like a 1-score game either way. And the Chargers have lost 1-score games in the past. They didn't this year against the Chiefs. So hopefully they can get right and continue to kind of take a stranglehold there. But I think it'll be a dogfight either way. I'm looking forward to a Bo Nix bounce back too, just from a fan of football.
I think something that's probably not talked about enough is the fact that they're starting the season with 3 divisional games in a
It's
row.
crazy.
So if they can start the season with 3 divisional wins, that is massive going down to the end of the regular season, because then they don't
Yeah.
play a divisional game until November 30th against Las Vegas, and then 2 of their final 4 games are against divisional opponents, including Denver, who's the last game of the season. So
Yeah, does any other team have that? Like any other team in
there's a
any
lot of early divisional games this
yeah.
year, it feels
Just
like.
3 in a row feels like it makes sense. Like if they're gonna do it, it should be done every year like this almost, but it almost doesn't because it just feels weird. But
Yeah.
the way it's
No.
planned out for LA, obviously it's been good so far. But yeah, I
Yeah.
just found it weird to see that as well, Justin.
There are a lot of divisional games, it feels like, early on in the season. My game of the week is gonna be. I could have went for the, chalk game and said Philadelphia and Los Angeles. Like, I feel like that's a good game, but I want points, and I feel like this game's gonna produce in the points matchup, or Detroit and Baltimore. But I really want points, okay? I really do want points. And I think the Chicago Bears versus the Dallas Cowboys is going to produce that. You have a Dallas Cowboys offense that is absolutely electric, that is going to put up points. You have a Chicago Bears defense who lost their best defensive player, Jalen Johnson, over their week 2 loss to the Detroit Lions. I am so excited for this game. I think it's going to hit like 70 points between the two of them. Just like they reached 70 last week, I think we can see 70. That is all depending on Caleb Williams. Because if Caleb Williams in the Chicago's offense doesn't show up, I still think Dallas is going to put 40 on them at least. So yeah, I'm it might not be the game of the week because one team's 1-1 and one team's 0-2, but like in terms of like what could possibly be the most electrifying game of the week, I'm full in on this game.
Yeah, and I'd certainly be disappointed after last week or saying that we thought the Bears were going to be a bit better. If they can't go out and score some points on this Dallas defense that gave up a ton to the
Yes.
Giants,
Yeah.
it would
Yes.
certainly be a bad look for them. So I think it should be hopefully a fun shootout type of game to watch in that late window on Sunday. But for me, I was going to pick the one of the 2 games that I thought you were not going to, or one of the 2 that you mentioned already. So I think for me, I'll go with the Rams and the Eagles. I think, like you
Nice.
said, it's you look at the matchup, 2-2-0 teams. Obviously, they played in the playoffs last year as the Eagles, made their way to the Super Bowl and beat the Rams. So I'm excited to see that rematch, and I think it's going to be
Arguably the Eagles' toughest game of the playoffs
I
was
think they
against the
only
Rams.
beat them by 6 points. Took, I think, a touchdown in the fourth quarter to beat them.
I think
So
there was a fumble as well that I can't remember exactly, but there was a fumble or something, and that LA turned the ball over, and that was kind of the end of the game. But if that doesn't happen, LA might win that game. Like,
yeah, no, and I expect a similar style game this week where we're going to see 2 real good teams going at it. Both teams, I think LA has kind of gone under the radar just because of their opponents so far. I think they played Houston, Tennessee. So it's, not exactly a murderer's row there, but, now they got a chance to face off against the champs and show them, what they're about this year. And Stafford's looked pretty good so far. I expect him to have a good game, and it'll probably come down to that last possession, like Justin said, whether it's a late turnover or if a team's able to take advantage and put one in the end zone late. So I'm excited to watch that game. I think it's going to be one that a lot of people will have their eyes on in terms of, what the top of the NFC might look like coming out of week 3. Because I think most people would put Philadelphia there. You got Green Bay as well. And then you got teams like Detroit and LA who are still kind of hoping that they can break through and get into one of those, top 2 spots, I think, in most people's power rankings. So it'll be really fun to watch. And I think it'll be a really good, I think some different games with all the games we talked about are going to be fantastic. And then you add the Monday night game against between
That'll be
Baltimore
great.
and Detroit. It's going to be a great weekend of football, I think. So I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
every weekend's a great weekend of football. We only get it for 5 months of the year.
You're not wrong there.
There's a lot of stinky games this week, though, guys. Like I'm looking, there's a lot of really especially. I think the problem is that there's a lot of starting quarterbacks out, and there's a lot of starting quarterbacks that are facing each other that are out. Like have Cincinnati and Minnesota.
I like that game. I think that game can be.
Too, yeah.
I think it can be a sneaky good game. Like it's a backup quarterback F it, balls to the wall, just throw anything that you want to throw, and F it, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are
It
down
is
the
the
field somewhere.
two best
So
receivers in the league, but you have Carson Wentz and Jake Browning. It's like, come
I
on,
like
we
it.
get robbed of a
Carson
great game
Wentz.
here.
Carson Wentz could be
He's gonna
fun.
throw. He's gonna
He's
throw the ball. Like he is not
exactly,
afraid. He's gonna
Yeah.
air it out
exactly.
for these guys, and it could be a very fun game to watch. And maybe a lot of points there. It should be fun.
Fair, boys. You
Um,
know what? Fair counter. The only other one, I mean, like New Orleans and the Seahawks. Like, come on, guys. Like
Yeah,
another
that
bad
game's
one.
not very good.
Because like Seahawks, good team, but like they're defensively structured. There's going to be like 14 points in that game. Anyway, we don't have to talk about all of them, but you know, I guess every week has its diamonds, and it's just like rough games. So it is what it is.
yeah, I mean, I just look at this and I see points. I'm excited. We're gonna go overs on every single game except for maybe Indy and Tennessee. That might be an under.
Don't count those Colts. They might be good. We'll
Yeah,
see.
but
Knows,
that
man.
Tennessee defense might be good too.
Yes, that's
True.
true. That's true. But
Um,
that's why I think most of these games have a storyline one way or the other about whether or not they, how they affect things going forward. And that's why early on in the NFL it's so great because we still have, for the most part, I'd say 20, 25 teams that are going to be hanging around the playoffs for the next couple of weeks. And then
Definitely.
from there it starts to fall off and you start to really get the best of the best, right? So,
Huge game between New England and Pittsburgh. 2-1 is a lot different than 1-2. I'll tell you that much after 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah, the seventh spot in the wild card's really gonna be on fire there. You never
no,
know.
I'm honestly being serious because we find out first off by game to game reference here. Miami got absolutely crushed by Indy. We barely beat Miami in week 2, and then they hold in against Buffalo in week 3. So Miami might not be as bad as what we think. New England might be better because Pittsburgh wins game 1, puts up 34 points, and then plays a semi-decent team against Seattle in week 2 and gets shut down, and it kind of looks like they're not that good right now. So I think New England's going to win this game, but it's a big game. I think it's a big game because we're going to find out which one's more trash is what it comes down
Yeah.
to. Which
That sold me. That's might be the best game of the slate.
You know what? Honestly,
which
though,
team
I
actually
think
is
it might
bad?
go over. I think it might go over. Like, I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
be a defensive battle. I think it's going to be, like, obviously, the Patriots' defense is not that good right now. We don't have Christian Gonzalez. Pittsburgh's defense, or New England's defense isn't going to be that good. Pittsburgh's defense not going to be that good. I don't think we saw it against against Seattle. Like, it was not great. And Seattle's not a great offense. So, and it wasn't good against the Jets. So, I don't know. I have
We'll
a
see.
feeling that New England's going to win, and we'll go from there. Baby Diggs, man. Baby Diggs.
It'll be a fun weekend, boys. I think that probably wraps things up, though. I think we're good to go.
Brandon, you got me at least.
Yeah, that was funny. Did you guys have any thoughts quickly about the 2 LA guys retiring yesterday? I thought that was kind
yeah.
of funny
Good
that
call.
the coincidence there. I just wanted to bring that up because I
Good
didn't
call.
expect I guess he had made some comments that maybe he would retire pretty
Who?
soon, but Kopitar.
Which one? Yeah, Kopitar was expected.
Kershaw, obviously, at the end of the year, kind of out of nowhere, it feels like. But
Yeah,
Mhm,
Kershaw,
mhm.
like, it just feels like, yeah, that was, like, he's going to make his final start. I think they announced it yesterday because he's going to make his final start tonight in Dodger Stadium. But, like, it just felt like that was kind of weird out of the blue. Like, for a player like that magnitude, I would have expected,
Yeah.
like, a full season of, like, okay, we're going to, like, oh my gosh.
like give him the tour, kind of thing.
Yeah, who did the tour like 2 years ago? It was Miguel Cabrera. Yeah, from the Tigers. Like that, even though like he's probably not one of the best players of all time, like I would say Clayton Kershaw's on that level of like he probably would have went around the whole league and got different gifts and different memoirs like that, because he's that big of a player. So I'm just shocked. Like, but yeah, I think they lined it up. I do. I think they lined it up.
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah, I do.
Kopitar seemed a little surprised. He had like a smirk, a smirk, and like a snide comment on. I think they did like a practice press conference, and he was like, "Oh, like yeah, coincident." Like he didn't seem like he was aware. So, but I mean, Kopitar probably could hide it well. Like who knows, right? Like these guys are veterans. It kind of just depends on the player, I guess, right? Like I'm sort of surprised that Kopitar announced it because he seems like an under the radar guy. But I think his reasoning was like, I don't want to become a distraction for my team near the end of the season if we're in a playoff run. And I was like, I get that, but that's almost counterintuitive. Like it's now a distraction all year.
I don't think
Like
it's a distraction. I think it's more of a celebration. I think
I love. He's actually one of my favorite. I love
yeah,
Kopitar.
he's
So like,
been
I
he's a
don't.
first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion.
No question. I know.
If-
No question. I think
like
it just
he's-
depends on the guy. Like
I actually I
whether
did
they
it.
want it or
You
not.
want to debate something before we end this show?
I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
would.
mean, yeah.
I heard this. I listened to 32 Thoughts this morning. It's Friday, September 19th. Elliot Friedman said on there that Anze Kopitar is the greatest Los Angeles King. Not the greatest to play, because obviously Wayne Gretzky played for the Los Angeles
Oh,
Kings,
right.
but the greatest king of all time. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers and everything. Like, is he up there in
I got a
points
number.
and goals and all
Yeah,
that stuff? Yeah.
he's up there. He's like 20 or 30
He's
points
30
away from
point.
passing.
Yeah.
So
Marcel
hypothetically,
Dionne.
this year he will be the team leader.
Most points.
Because that was going to be my guy. Was Marcel
Marcel
Dionne always
Dionne. Like that's
gets
the
that
yeah.
he's the most underrated player maybe of all time, non the Hall of
That
Fame,
is-
I think, right?
that
Or
is a fact.
Not to win the Stanley Cup. So it'll be I think him, Jonathan Quick you could throw in there maybe as like a different kind of cat, like obviously a goalie, so the numbers are not as easy to compare, but he was
Luc
obviously there for all
Robitaille.
that. Robitaille is always going to get love. But no, I mean, I could see it. Yeah, especially if he's gonna.
Huh.
Maybe that's part of the retirement. Is like, I know I'm gonna hopefully reach this point this season, and maybe he just wants to kind of walk away, knowing that that's what he's got, and yeah.
He has
But
two cups. He was a big part of those two cups.
Of course he was, yeah. He's won what, like 3 Selkies or something? Like
yeah,
a bunch of Selkies.
I'm gonna check up. I think it's 2 Selkies to be honest. I think it's 1 Lady Bing. Yeah, 2 Selkies, and actually 3 Lady Bings.
3 Lady Bings is what I was thinking of.
A Mark Messier Leadership Award. He also he's won 2 Stanley Cups.
He's done everything.
He's been a professional. He's been a professional's professional his whole career. He's been under the radar, but he's been one thing I think actually that Kyle Bukauskas mentioned on 32 Thoughts that I thought was actually a good thing was the fact that like he played in the Pacific time zone his whole career, so not as many people probably got to watch him and like understand who he actually was as a player, just because they probably didn't stay up as late, just in that Pacific time zone. So yeah, like I think that's probably something that he'll be underappreciated for. It's just like how good he actually was in his prime, because yeah, Anze Kopitar, if he doesn't go up against Jonathan Toews in a Blackhawks dynasty and like shut him down, like they probably don't win. They probably don't advance. They probably don't win 2 cups. Like, you know what I mean? Like that he was that good for the Los Angeles Kings during that time. I think another name that you could possibly argue as greatest king of all time is probably Drew Doughty. I would probably put Kopitar though ahead of Drew Doughty.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, Marcel Dionne and Anze Kopitar are probably the top 2 that you can debate, like who's the greatest Los Angeles King of all time.
Does Doughty have a Norris?
Norris? Yeah. He's got
Yeah,
Norris.
he does.
Yeah.
It's too bad with Kopitar too. Like obviously it's not too bad that he was born in Slovenia or whatever, but like it would have been great to see him play in that international stage at some point as well in his career. Like obviously, he's not from a European powerhouse, so we didn't really get to see him participate in some of those, whether it's great tournaments that have been going on lately or or in the Olympics, really, like when the players were able to go, and now that they're able to go again,
he was the
he
first
probably
one.
will be there, I guess, right? Like, are they gonna qualify for the Olympics? I'm not sure.
I'm not 100%
Slovenia?
sure, but
Yeah.
he was the first one, man. Like he was
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
Slovenian player like to really make a jump or make an impact in the NHL, like and actually be someone. So yeah, he he's the one who paved the way.
Is
Totally
he still
different.
the
100%.
only
I feel like they've
realistically?
had maybe other players play now in the NHL, but not to his level. I could be wrong there. Like maybe a couple different guys, but I could be mixing up names and
I can see there's 3 guys. So
yeah.
there's
All time.
Kopitar. There is 2 other guys who collectively played
It's
47
crazy.
NHL games.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like
It's
to think about
unbelievable.
what he has done, and like to be from a country that hockey isn't the number one thing, obviously, and like it's not a main priority, or at least not producing great talent. Like to be this good, it's like
Yeah.
he's special. He's
No,
really good,
he's the
and like
best, man.
him and Kershaw, like 2 LA Star legends, like sports legends. Like they are legit.
LA and Dallas just weirdly, like weird connection, but the Luka and Anthony Davis trade. Dallas gets rid of Luka, they get rid of Micah Parsons, and then LA has 2 players retire on the same day in different sports. Kind of weird. Those two
I don't know
markets
how
being
you
in the
just went
news.
from that to that, but you know what? I'm gonna let
Well,
it
it's
slide.
weird. Those two cities just being in the news for different reasons. It's kind of strange. Like LA sports have been like their main top dogs. Like there's been a lot of movement in the past 6 to 8 months. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, I guess.
There you
I
go.
mean,
I'm surprised we didn't get a LeBron James retirement announcement yesterday
Exactly, bro.
too. If all these LA guys are retiring, but I
well,
think LeBron commented on it saying like he's not ready to retire yet, but
he's
it's
got
gonna
one-
be
I think
soon.
he's got
Classic,
what-
making him
what-
about himself. Like, okay, LeBron. Hey guys, a lot of people were asking, and no, I'm good. Like, all right, brother.
yeah, no.
Oh, he's still gonna go
No,
probably
I know.
score 22 points a game with 9 assists
Yeah,
and,
he's
and some
incredible.
rebounds. He
He's
can
got
play.
one more year.
He can
He's
play
got one more
forever.
year. He's got actually 2 more years. 2 more years.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
No, he
yeah,
does.
we'll see.
He does.
He'll want to play with his younger son too.
Exactly.
No?
Yes, because he's at Arizona
right,
this year.
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
I'm tired
So
of it.
he can be drafted.
He'll be coming out
Yeah.
for 6 minutes a game at age 51 or something. And then 10
Yeah.
years still. We're gonna
Yeah,
be like,
no
well,
kidding.
next year he's done. Next
The
year.
real
He's
Uncle
the
Drew will be
NBA's Tom
LeBron
Brady.
James.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Tom
He is.
Brady.
You're right.
Chris
They're
Chelios.
very comparable for sure.
And he's not
God.
he's like Tom Brady in the sense of Tom Brady also didn't just fall off a cliff. Like he was good up until the very end, and like LeBron
Yeah.
just keeps on. Not like LeBron's like the once upon a time dominant force that he once was, but like he's still a top 10, 15 player
15.
in the league.
Yeah, probably.
Like it's kind of crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Longevity definitely goes to LeBron James in that category when you're talking about the GOAT debate.
Yeah.
So,
but
anyway,
I'm sure we'll have more NBA talk when it kind of gets close. Same with NHL, but good pod today, boys. Got a lot of topics in, a lot of exciting stuff. And there was one thing I didn't say this pod, but I'm going to save it for next because it would get a little spicy. And there's no real time limit on it, so we'll bring it up next week and hopefully get some more football. But we'll save it. There's more NHL talk probably next week too, with camps getting underway. Preseason games start Saturday. I think St. Louis and somebody.
There's one tonight. I think
it's tomorrow.
Crazy.
Yeah,
The Leafs
St.
play on
Louis,
Sunday, and
someone.
I'm not prepared for that
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I can't believe we're already
It's
there.
crazy.
It's just a preseason game. Don't overreact to it though.
Man, no. It's just there's a lot of stuff to talk about
What do you
there.
mean? If they lose, they're done. Their season's over, bro.
It's all downhill.
Yeah, they play Ottawa in preseason September 21st. That's the same team that's gonna be played in May again.
Yeah.
I actually have a hot take about the Leafs.
We can wait. There's no point. The season hasn't even started yet.
I'm not. It's just a full season prediction hot take.
All right, what is it?
You want to know it right now, or you want me to save it?
I think we can save it, honestly, because I think we'll have a lot to chat
Brandon
about
wants to
next
know
week.
what it is.
No, I'm thinking about what it's. I'm guessing it's like they're not going to make the playoffs or something like that. Like,
No, it's not that hot. It's not that hot.
cool.
I don't think.
I'm
I don't
good
think
then.
it's.
Yeah, then don't worry about it.
I think they're gonna make the playoffs, but I think it's a hot take.
No worries.
We could save it. I think we'll have some time to actually dive into hockey once the games start, because I'm sure there'll be contract talks and guys sitting out, or like maybe some crazy rookies or whatever. Yeah, there'll be a lot to chat about. So we'll leave it at that. But a lot of great topics today. We'll get into some stuff next week. Hopefully everyone enjoys football this weekend and the Jays push for a playoff spot. Otherwise, guys, chat soon and hope you enjoy your weekends.